Greetings, Earthlings. How are we today? This is Tune Up Tuesday. It's a new series. Give my channel a bit of a theme. We're talking about Reiki from the healer's perspective, from the bridge builder to the fifth dimensional aspect, to critical thinkers who might not fully get what Reiki is. It's not some woo-woo practice. It actually is intentional and quite powerful. And therefore it has probably been abused, misused, and labeled evil. And we're going to be exploring that. Next week we're doing shadow work, so if this is the kind of thing that you are interested in, you might want to stick around. And I don't know if it'll work on TikTok, but it's a good place to start. And I think I'm writing a book about it, an updated healer's book for where we find ourselves now. Because when I did my Reiki, it was in 1999, and I got my mastery in 2007, and I have attuned a few people. I've given a few treatments. I've never professionally. That just never felt right to me, but opening up the conduit has been beneficial for other energetic practices that I've always worked with. So I'm going to share some of that with you. I have lived a quiet journey. I honestly walk around thinking most people wouldn't be at all interested in anything, I have to say. That's been my experience on Earth. So maybe the TikTok algorithm can help me out and direct this information to somebody who might actually find it useful in their day-to-day life. This series is not for the healers who are already living the idyllic life in their linen caftans in the fifth dimension. This is for us healers who have reincarnated for a long time and still just looking at it going, what the actual frickety frack is going on here? But we do it anyway. So over the years I've seen a lot of misconceptions come and go, and one that still lingers is that Reiki is evil. Well, I don't know who taught you that. Okay, I think the UK is good at many things, and setting standards is one of them, but sometimes those standards can be stripped back to only the measurable. And when you're working with Reiki, you're kind of working in the fifth dimension, which makes working in the third dimension very difficult. Third dimension's kind of rows and columns, really. It's kind of basic database, whereas fifth dimension is, think about AI. It transcends time and space and brings information from any point in history to your now. Another, I think the misconception is where the energy comes from. Universal life force energy isn't attached to a deity or personality or persona or an archetype. It just is. It's in everything. It's basically yin and yang, which is not in and of itself only evil or only good. It demonstrates an energy dynamic, the flow principles between two states, and then you have another two affected states within the greater body of the first. So we look at traditional Chinese medicine and feng shui to understand the more nuanced flow of energy rather than standard electrical documentation, but it's the same sort of thing. It's just very complex energy fields that you're working with. And the thing with Reiki is, I don't know if anybody tells you, but having a Reiki attunement is like shaking a rug in your life. Everything that you've got under the rug, compartmentalized, blocked, not working with, that is going to come to you to be resolved. And then you're going to go through a process of grief, maybe adopting that model to get to that point of acceptance. My Reiki master refused to do any Reiki attunements on anybody who hadn't got a forgiveness workshop. And I understand there's a commercial thing behind it, but forgiveness itself is the essence of all healing. So you need to be in touch with what you are going to be required to do, because that attunement is going to bring that to you. You are going to be challenged. And I don't know if anybody tells you this when you're presented with Reiki as a, qualification to achieve, it's a little bit more nuanced than just getting a Bachelor of Arts. Yeah, you get the information, but you become a broader conduit for channeling that universal life force energy. So we look at Dr. Sui gave us a very prescriptive way of doing it, and in doing so ensured that the practice and the information would be handed down from generation to generation consistently. It's what the Japanese in their cultures and what the Chinese do really well, is they maintain standards and consistency over a period of time, adjusting with, the way the world is moving. But if we actually look at what the Reiki symbols are, it's the intention is encoded in the symbol. So Shokure is the switch on energy. It's key up, basically. Daikomyo is amplifiers, pump up the jam. Seihiki is about healing patterns and addictions, which actually, think about it, is actually the root of probably at least 80% of people's mental health problems stem from that either symptomatic or a comorbidity of something deeper. And yeah, it's not going to feel healing. I mean, the minute you get an attunement, the wheels are going to fall off the bus. And I don't know necessarily if there's any support around that. And the thing is, if nobody told you that you are just the conduit for the water to flow and you feel like you've got to produce all the water yourself, you're going to get tired because you have enough energy in you for your life, and possibly any lighthouse anchoring what you're doing in the background, which might be making you tired. But the thing is, you cannot undo a Reiki attunement. You're open to it. So I suppose if you feel like it's very challenging, you might mistake that for feelings of being touched by something evil. The best way through that is actually 21 days of doing Reiki on yourself, because that will help clear that. But there's a discipline involved in doing that. And here you fundamentally have altered the architectural blueprint within yourself. So just sit with that for a bit. When you undergo Reiki attunement, were you told you have fundamentally altered the architectural blueprint within yourself? It might have been necessary, and everything you're feeling about it is probably intuitively very necessary. It's an interesting process to go through. But preparation is actually really important, to know up front that, there are things in your life you probably thought you'd let go, only to pop up and go, hello. So it's not an overnight cure, but nothing is. Earth is not an overnight journey. It's a progression of days and weeks and months and years to an inevitable conclusion. And if it is a simulation, I think that we need to come up with better rules for it. But I don't honestly think that Reiki is something that can directly affect the rules of the system. So I don't think it sits in the sixth dimension. I think Reiki is a fifth dimensional construct. You need to be able to rise above the noise of third and fourth to gain a holistic point of view. And yeah, that's quite tricky for some people. It's not just one thing you have to do. It's a journey. So beyond the healing process, people often think Reiki rules are rigid. And I've told you the symbols that are taught by Dr. Sui, repeatable, and can be done over a long period of time to maintain the historicity. Is that the word? But once you reach the master level, you can actually create new symbols for other spiritual concepts. So if you've come across Pok Pod, point of creation, point of destruction, it's a very good Reiki symbol to use in that captures the intention of it. Next week, we're going to be looking at shadow work. Tune in. Bye.